So today we are going to focus on DAX. I will open my Power BI. Then we have the same data we are going to load as how we did last time, which is this. We shall do a quick exploration in the data we have. It is more the same like we used last time. So we have the data, which is this. We have other data which we saw last time, and we called these dimension tables. And I gave you the difference between dimension and fact. That fact tables, these are the daily entry tables, like the sales, like the operations, like a timesheet, like an attendance list. That is a fact table. But a table that acts like a master data, like let's say your branches as a business, or the products you sell as a business and their price matrix, all those are termed to as fact dimension tables. Why? Because they give you direction, and on the other hand, you don't update them on a daily basis. You can update your branch location like even after 4 years when you have relocated. Then the sales personnel, we know that we don't delete employees when they leave. You just deactivate them. So the only thing you do is deactivating and adding a new entrant, of which getting an employee replacing in a designation, it can even take 5 years. Some people have been on a job for over 10 years. So ideally, that's how you can explain the difference between fact tables and dimension tables. So we are going to do the same. We are going to load the data the same we did last time. We shall be quick this time because we are heading for the expressions. So I'll close this. As we said last time, we don't connect to a sheet that is already open. So I will open a new blank report that way, then go ahead and load it. So what are we loading? It is XLSX, which means it is a workbook. So it is okay for me using this shortcut. Or you can come and use the shortcut here. Or you can look out and use the shortcut here. There are many ways from where you can load your data from. So I'll use Excel workbook. Then look for where my file is. I've already tagged here my folder. I've named it module 4, and this is it. So go ahead and load. So as I said last time, maybe the next session I'll be showing you how you can create your own data using AI for practice. But I'll be sharing other links where we can pick data for practice. Now, last time we had a difference. We had to differentiate between these icons. If my screen is visible enough, you should be seeing that this icon is different from this. This is a sheet. This is a table. So we are loading tables, not sheets. So because of the other dimensions that have 3 tables on one sheet, that's why we go for loading tables, not sheets directly. So I will select the calendar, I will select the location, I will select the people, select the product, select the sales. And every table you click on, you'll see the preview on the right. If the preview is not visible, please always come here on the options and say enable data previews, such that you see what you're going to load, whether it is in the right shape or not. So I'll go ahead and load, but remember, better discipline in data analysis, you better go forward with transform data first. So going for transform data first, it will open for us a Power Query editor. Why do we open a Power Query editor? To first do another exploration through our data, whether it is having the correct data types, whether it is having the correct naming, whether it is having the correct columns that we need. Any unnecessary column, please remove it, because every time your data refreshes, that column takes some of the seconds from the refresh on a daily. So it increases on the slowness of your report when it is being loaded by a user on a daily. So it is better always to leave the columns that are of purpose for what you're trying to analyze. So when I go through this, let me start from bottom. We have the sales report, the sales data. Let's focus on the data type. You see that this step has already created automatically changing data type. And when you click on that, and we look at this step from the code view, you see that they changed the first column to text, the geography to text, the product to text, the date to date, and the amount to an integer 64-bit. Integer 64-bit means a number. Then boxes also change to integer. So you can view your changes from directly the code. With time, you'll just get used to these expressions. It is not rocket science. You can always even edit them from here directly than coming here and change the data type. Okay. You changing the name of your file can be changed from how you want. Like today we are going to look at DAX, data analytics expressions, how we want to use the naming. Make sure that you have short names of your tables. Don't put a long name because you're putting a whole description. When you reach creating expressions, like call them formulas in Excel, you'll find that it is a big word that is taking up space in your formula, which is DAX right now. So always make them snappy and short, and don't put spaces when naming. Actually, it will refuse a space. Most of the cases when you want to use more than one word, you can put an underscore, but you can always either put an underscore or start with a capital letter for the second word. Let's say if I say sales and I want to say regional sales. So which means here I'll come and start with a capital R, region sales, like this. It becomes one word, but me, I know what I'm meaning. Or else you don't do the combination, you do an underscore. That one is okay, but leaving a space is not okay. It will give you errors with time as you start and doing your analysis. So I'll change that. Product also reviewing just the data types. You just take 3 seconds, look at the data types, whether all of them are correct. The people, text is okay. The location, text is okay. The calendar, this is already date, very fine. But remember, with calendar, we may need to add more columns, right? So this time we have the calendar just giving us one column of the date. And what do we do now? If if we click out and click in again, it can give you the max and the minimum. You see when it starts 2021 January and when it ends 31st March 2022. So we nearly have like 1 year and some months, 3 months. This is part of an exploration you do for your own benefit to know the data I'm dealing with is from this date to this date. Now let's add some columns quickly, then we can rush into our uh, module for today. Okay, so adding columns, we said you just select that column, come on add column. Since it is a date, it is going to become easy. It is going to become easy for us. Just a moment. It is going to become easy for us to add columns. You always come here on date. You see this? Then you say, what do I need to add? I can add a year. That is one. It will be added automatically. Select the other one again. You see that when I'm not selecting date, this one is faint. It is disabled, which means I can't use it. But when you select the date again, you can add the month name of the month. That is it. Then I can add even the month number. You just say month, it will add the month number. You know why we need the month number. Then click the date again. What do we need else? We can add, we don't need days, or you can go with the name of the day. It will give you Friday, Monday to Sunday. Then what else do you need? You can even add quarter in case you're going to do an analysis to do with quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. You can say quarter of the year. It will give you quarter one, quarter two, 1, 2, 3, meaning that that's the quarter. Now, I think this is enough. What else have we missed out? But you can go ahead and add as many as you can. But remember, we don't need to add unnecessary columns that we're not going to use. So all being said and done, we shall go to home and close and apply. So we have three options. Apply means that you're applying the changes, but you want to remain with the Power Query editor open. Closing means that even it is going to ask you, do you need to reject the changes you have done or you want to save them? In case you do a mistake and you don't want to remember where you want to start from, just close. It will ask you, then you will reject the changes. Yes, Daphne.
Thank you, Chris. In the event that I want to add, so for example, I want to call it a period. I'm talking finance perspective.
Yes.
If my year ends in June, and my period one is July, meaning January is period 7.
Yes.
If I want to add periods, how would I do that?
Okay. Actually, I wanted to take you there, but since you have asked it, that one involves creating a calendar using DAX. Now, since today is our first session of DAX, I never wanted to go into creating the calendar using DAX because I will want us to first understand the simple and the basic DAX today. Then I will show you how you can play with your fiscal year. We call it fiscal year. You can define when your year starts and when it ends. Most companies, their year starts in April, and it ends in March. For the government institutions, it starts in July and it ends in June. So you can define your fiscal year and you run it that way. We shall do that. Glad that you have asked that. We shall see how we do that when we are creating a calendar using a data analytics expression, not just having a column like this and you add columns, right? Glad you asked that question, but you just keep it, jot it somewhere. I will come back to that in one of our sessions. Now, here we are closing and applying. Obviously, you give it some time. If it takes long, please apply the changes, but it is always better to give it some time depending on the speed of your PC. Either if you're picking data from the internet, it will always depend on the internet you're logged in for it to sync, load the schemas and the data itself. So we give it some time, then after that, we are going to create relationships. I think you see the changes. It loaded the schema, now it is loading data. That processing, the data is loading one by one. In case there is any table that gives you an error, it will give that table an X with the error. It shows you that this is the error I'm finding with this table. So this is our canvas, nothing we have done. So when we go to the table view, I told you here you can view the table data. It is part of the exploration to see the data you have loaded. Then we rush on to our relationship data model. So we said last time that when your columns or fields are named right, Power BI will try to create for you relationships. Then those ones that are not connected, you can always create them yourself. Now, when we check here, if I come back here and I check geography, location, I see region and geo. Then when I come to sales, I see the geography is the geo. So if I go back here, so I'll get this geo and tag it to geography. Automatically, it gives me that you're trying to combine this and this, and what you're doing is one-to-many relationship, which is fantastic. So go ahead and save. It has to create our our relationship, and when it has a solid line, it means that it is active. In case it is dotted, it is inactive. You have to get skeptical to that. You have to double check. Then what is the date here we have? Do we have the date on our sales data? Yes, I can see the date here. So you go and pick this date and combine it and drop it on top of this date. So the date in calendar has to be 1 and the date in the sales is multiple. Many entries can be done on the same day. So that's why you see the cross filter direction is single. I explained the single last time. Okay, now here we go. We have done our data modeling very simple because our data is simple. And here our data is fully connected the way how we need it. It will show you here the relationships. You have 4 and these are the 4 relationships. Why I'm putting this down and putting these ones around? Because all these are dimension tables. And this one is a fact table. So we are done now with model. We are done. We have seen the data table view. We know what canvas means. This time we are going on DAX. Now, how do we create DAX? First of all, what is DAX? DAX is DAX. DAX means data analytics analysis expressions. This is the formula language in Power BI. We also use it in Power Pivot. Power Pivot is like in Excel, what we do in modeling here, what you see here, when you do it in Excel, we call it Power Pivot. So when you go to my Excel, if you have never checked your Excel, that I have a tab here called Power Pivot. This Power Pivot, we use it to manage, to create models. So you see creating models. So it can also, it is all, DAX is also used in Power Pivot. It is used in SAS, those who have done economics somewhere. So the purpose why we do this is to maintain aggregation, the sum, count, average, all that. Then also to reuse those expressions. Not every time that we shall be summing the column. You have dealt with Excel that not every time that you need a sum of the amount, you have to create equals to sum, go to the table, click the amount, and it gives you sum. We want to create a formula that will give us that value that we shall keep reusing. And that's what we are going on. Then also we do that for time intelligence. Time intelligence or intelligence means that when we come to Power BI, why is it called Power BI? Power Business Intelligence. That Power BI has the time intelligence that it can do analysis for you month on month. We are going to look at that year on year, year to date, month to date, week on week, week to date. Those computations, it means that Power BI detects the time, what date you are on today, and it gives you month to date. It gives you from first to fourth today, right? That's what we call time intelligence. For it to do that time intelligence, you don't do it from the table itself and add a column like how we do in Excel. Then we struggle with VLOOKUP. We use the DAX. Now let's hit our first DAX, our first DAX. There are a lot of things or a lot of analysis you can do with the data we have. Now, when you look at the data we have, it was a sales format and shipping and all that, which means we can get the sum of the boxes, we can get the sum of the amount. Then after that, even we can get the what every box has by getting this divided by that. We can get the average of every shipment in a geolocation. So that's what we are going to look at. So the first thing is when you're creating the DAX, you either right click on the table where you want to put it. There is always new measure. You can even create a new column directly from here, but now we are going to create a new measure. There is this what we call new quick measure. New quick measure, it is, let me first open it for you. That for it, when you open it, it sets for you calculations here. Then you can directly say, I want to create the maximum per category. I want to create the sum, year to date, year to. We shall look at that. But for today, we are not going to use the quick. We are going to use the create a new measure. Now, creating a new measure, it will always open this way. Let me see if I can expand this. Control Shift. Supposed to. Okay, there is a shortcut to expand this. I just wanted to zoom it out for us to be able to look at it. But I think it is visible for now, not wasting time. Now, let's start with our first measure, that is getting the total sales. So total sales, you start with, you see what they're giving us is a default name of the measure, but for us, we want to change this to total sales like this, equals to. Now, when we want to add the total sales, where are we going to get the sales? The sales is the amount, but in which table is it? It is in the sales table. So when you're creating a DAX in Power BI, you start with defining a table. So, no, before that, because we are creating total, then we shall do sum. So the summing is like how you see it in Excel. So I will do tab, or you double click on it. When you do tab, it will open like that. Now you see that when it opens, it lays down all the tables with the columns. It lays the table, name of the table, and the column in square brackets. So it means that if I start typing the sales table, it will only bring anything starting with S. Then when I type A, it brings sales. You see now this is the sales table. I'm not focusing on these people because this is not the table I'm looking at. I'm looking at this table. They define the table here, the table with the first column, amount, boxes, date. But what am I looking at is this. So the moment you click at it and close the curly brackets, that is going to be our first DAX. So how do we accept the DAX, or how do we make Power BI to accept the DAX is either by entering or by checking this tick. That is, we call it committing. So when I commit, it will automatically give me the sum of the amount. That is my total sales. Now you see here, it is different from the other columns that are directly in the table. And when I go back to my data model, you'll find that there is a table that will here. So you'll see that it has created at the end, but it is different from this. When you go to the table view, you'll never find it there because for it is a measure. That's why it is more and more important for you to create measures than adding columns, because when you add a column, you're consuming the space. It means that if your file is 16 kilobytes, after saving, adding a column, it will become 17 kilobytes, meaning that you have added more space. By the time you finish your project, your file will be too big and taking long to open. So that is the first advantage of adding a column than adding, of adding an expression than adding a column. I think that I've explained it better. Now, let's try to use our DAX. So if we pick out a table like this, let's pick out a matrix table. This is a matrix table. Let me pick what I'm going to put in the rows. I can pick anything from maybe location. Remember, we already have a relationship. So you can pick from any table. So I've picked the geo. Then here I can come and pick. Now this is on values, right? Like this. So when you check this, it means that we have got the total sales for each location or for each country with ease. But the same thing you can get it by let's click on the matrix. This time, let's use the geo, and we use this sum amount, not the DAX. So when we use this and put it on values, we are getting the same table. If you check this, these tables are the same. The values are the same and everything is nearly the same. But at the end of the day, the person who has used this criteria, you're telling Power BI that every time I'm going to use this, please do the sum afresh. But for this, you created a DAX that is already there implanted in your file, that it doesn't keep a summing because it is already a DAX. But here, every time you refresh, it does a sum. So just an example that if I added a filter, let's say this filter here, and on this filter, maybe I put products. Let me put products in the filter like this. Oh, let me pick years. Just to make it very simple for us, let me make it them buttons. Now, if I click 2021, data will change. If I click 2022, data will change the way how I need it. But explaining to you the change, remember here we use the column directly, that's why it is summing every time. So every time you filter or you're clicking any filters in your report, Power BI is recalculating on this. But this is already calculated in a data in the expression. So there are microseconds that we lose when you're using this format, not using the expressions. I think I explained that better. And that should be the reason why we use more DAX than adding columns or than adding them directly to your visuals. Now the other thing also is that for this one, I will always have to come here and manage the summarization from here. Whether I'm doing sum, whether I'm doing averaging, it means that in case it auto does an average, it means that I will keep changing this. And if I have used this column in many visuals, in case I need to do any change, I keep rounding all the visuals to make sure that I do these changes from here, which is different. And remember, every time you do a change, you have to rename the column. You have to rename the column to average to this, than using DAX. I clearly explained the difference why we always have to use DAX than adding columns or than using the column directly in. We are not saying that it is wrong, it is correct, 100%. But when we go in an advanced stage of using Power BI, you'll find that using this criteria is is not the correct one to use when you're dealing with a bigger project. Okay, what have I not talked about is, let me refresh. Measures react with filters. We have seen this. They automatically react with filters. You see, it also reacts with a filter. Measures they calculate on demand. Why I'm saying they calculate on demand, that I have already calculated the total sales. There is no way Power BI will again recalculate every time I'm filtering. But here, it has to recalculate every time you click on a filter. It may be even a microsecond, but with bigger data, those microseconds accumulate to a delay. Then measures are stored in memory as definitions, not rows. So you see now this is already, when you click on it, it gives you here the definition of what it is. It is not a column. You can imagine if you have a column of 10,000 entries than having just a simple DAX like this. So let's go ahead and create um, other functions. Now there is also something I want to show you before we go far. It is always also good to create a table that harbors all your DAX. but we shall look at that maybe in our next session with visuals. Let's create all these under this. So someone to dictate for me, how do we create the sum of table boxes if we want to get the sum of boxes? Then before we go to that, when you click on your measure, under format, you see what is open here. Just in case you're at home and you have clicked on your measure, you can go under format, and measure tools. Measure tools. So when my measure is selected, under measure tools, there are these formats you can always change. You can change here currency, you can put commas, you can put decimal, you can change the data type from here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put commas just to make sure that it's formatted right. You see it automatically changes because I'm selecting the measure and it changes everything in the measure. Then if I want to put like 2 decimal places or 1, you can put the decimal place and it will appear here. But since this is a whole, I will not put this. So if I want to change this to currency dollars, you just click directly here. Or you can just click on format and you'll have the options. Choose the options: currency, decimals, whole number, scientific, name them. Then for the categorization, this one looks at if it is a postal code. We are going to look at this maybe when we are dealing with URLs or a website or something else. So that is how you can do the formatting. You can rename it from here. Also, you can move it from one table to another. If I select products, this measure of mine will shift from the sales table and it will go to the products table. It has no effect, but at some point it will confuse you. So that's why I was saying sometimes we create a table that is blank where we keep all our measures. So I will bring this back to the cells like this. Okay, let's create another measure by right-clicking here and say new measure. Even if you don't right-click there, the moment you have selected the table, there is also new measure. From here, you can click from here. When I click from here, now I'm creating, that is total boxes. Yes. Yeah, that's total boxes. So I can do uh, total boxes equals to sum tab. Then I start typing the table where the number of boxes are. Even if you want to count the number of products, you can type in products, then you pick the column you want to count. So here I'm on sales. If I want to continue typing, I open square brackets. It will give me only the columns. So I can even use the arrow without using the mouse. Then reach boxes tab, it will constitute it. Then I go ahead and close, enter. So the moment I enter, it will create here total boxes. You'll allow me delete this. Then total boxes, actually here, let me put products instead, like this. I think that's fine. Now for products, you see, still it gives us the same total. So if I pick this total products and put it under values, it will give me the total boxes for each product, right? And here we have the totals. And since we need also to format this, you can always put a comma. This is not currency, but it is just a number. You can put a comma, and there we go, right? Now, what else can we create? We created sales, total boxes. Now, let's look at our data. When we go to products, yes, Daphne?
Can we create percentage of sales per location?
Yes.
What is the percentage of sales in a certain location?
sales in a certain location, which means that one we are going to divide the total sales. Now we are starting reusing our DAX. Sales per
Mm-hmm.
location, right? The percentage of sales per location, which means that uh, first of all, you have the total sales, right? Then, which means now we have to calculate the sales per each location. I don't know whether we are getting it. Now that one we use a calculate function, which you give. Let's say, let me start simply with one, then we can elevate it. Let's say if we want to get sales for USA, right? Uh, we shall go to new, click on one of the table, then new measure. Then we say here sales USA equals to. Now, here we don't just say sum. Now there is another function that we call calculate. So why do we use the calculate function is exactly what Daphne is asking. If you want to get only sales for a certain region, so it means that I will go ahead, do the calculate. Now I want us to look at the expression. You see, calculate says put the expression, then you add your filter, right? Now, what is our expression? Our expression is already we have it. So when you already have it, we don't again do sum, again amount. We have it, you just open square brackets. When you open square brackets, Power BI will bring for you all the measures you have already calculated, which means you have started reusing your expressions. So I'll come to the total sales. Remember, this is the total sales for all the territories, right? Or all the products, all territories, name them. Then when you do a comma, here they are telling you, can you put a filter of what you want? It means now, that's where I come and say, can we go to sales table, look out for country, of which this time it is geography, right? Geography, then equals to, but did we look at the names, because I don't remember the names. So let me first copy this, let me cut it. I want us to first study our names of the countries the country we are going to use first. So I will come here on sales. So here, which country can I go with? Mm, which countries do we have here in geolocation? Geo? Actually, we have USA, right? So we are going to use USA. So I'll go back here, go back to my table. You know why I did copy or cut my DAX where I had ended? I never wanted to start afresh. I will paste it back, right? Then here I will say equals to. Now, when you're putting any string that is not part of Power BI syntax, you have to open quotes, equals to USA. Obviously, you already be knowing the spelling, the way how the spelling is in your data. Now, here, what are we telling? Let me close this. Now, here, what are we telling Power BI? That please go and calculate the total sales in USA. Very simple as that. So the moment you calculate that, obviously we shall enter, it will calculate sales of USA. I can even bring the sales of USA here by adding them there. So it will give me the sales of USA per product, right? Per product. And let's say if we bring here scorecard, where is the scorecard? Okay. Let me put here scorecard and just drop there. the sales for USA. You see it has summarized it to 2 million, but I don't need this. You remember what we are supposed to do here on format and value. We did that last time. So when we come to call out and when we come to value, it is trying to auto. It is trying to do the auto, which means we have to, just a moment, this is card. In case you're searching for anything and you can't get it, you can always type it. What I want to change, it is doing 2 millions, but first a moment. Did we format this? No. So let's try to put, so this is currency. Yeah, here we go. It is giving us 1.7 that. Now, just imagine we have a filter and this filter is having geolocations. That is geo here. So it means that if I select USA, nothing's going to change here. But when you check this side, you see my total sales column, it has changed to USA. Even though I already have this particularly for USA, I just wanted to show you that it is the same. So, but why did we create a measure for only USA? Or you're going to create a measure for a certain specific category. Maybe if you want to get the percentages of that. Now, I was coming to your question, Daphne. Now, how do we get percentage? It means if we already have sales USA, we can get the percentage for sales USA. So how do we get the percentage for sales USA? It means you get the sales USA divided by the total, right? So there are two ways to do that. You also create a measure. So if I'm creating a measure, this is percentage sales USA. One. The first one is going to be to do direct division. Since we already have the measures, we can reuse them. So you open the square brackets to bring all the measures. We are using sales USA divide by, open square brackets, then we go to total sales. The moment you enter here, no, this closing was not supposed to be there. But let's wait the error it is giving us. Yeah, I was not supposed to close because we didn't open any bracket. So let's enter and actualize it. This is the percentage USA. But let's put it here. So we are adding it on our table, percentage USA. So when I add it on my table, obviously it is giving one throughout. Why? Because USA is selected. Let me unselect this. Now I need to change this to percentage because it is already in decimal. We all know percentage is decimal, just the formatting. So go to your measure and change this to percentage. And boom, it will give us. Now it means that 6.45% is the 228,175 of 436,772. So it means here we have got the percentage of USA. Now, in case you changed now this to countries, just a moment, I'm showing you something. In case you changed this from products to geo like this and cancelled product, you see, you're going to get the percentage. The sell USA is only happening on USA because the others, this measure doesn't work for the others. That's why you have blanks. Even the percentage is giving you 100% because USA is this and here it is this. So sometimes you may have a lot of measures, but not every measure goes on a visual because it will confuse the readers, right? I don't know whether we get what I'm explaining. that you've got the percentage of USA, you have the percentage of New Zealand, you have the percentage of this. It doesn't mean that all has to be for every visual. In case you want to use another visual, you use the aggregated one that uh, does a lump sum for all the other regions. I don't know whether Daphne have answered your question. I didn't want to go deep into some things we haven't touched on because I want us to first take in how we create these basic measures.
For the for the specific location, yes.
Mm,
Um, so if it is just here like this, if I'm calculating on the table with location,
mm.
instead of putting USA in the measure, would I put geo and then I put how would I? If I'm doing from this table, if I'm doing percentage of Austria, Canada, because here it should be straightforward. Instead of percentage of USA, would have a column of percentage per. How would we do that?
Or you're saying a column of percentage. It means that you need like we need a measure. Just make it simple.
Yes.
We need a measure that when we drop that measure, it gives us a percentage of Australia, percentage of Canada,
Uh-huh.
percentage of India. Oh, I get it. So we also use the calculate function. Just a moment. Okay, let's do percentage sales. Before we go to that, anyway, I will explain the thing on this. So percentage sales equals to calculate. Now, what are we calculating? We are calculating, our expression is going to be let me see, we have total sales and then our expression, what are we filtering? This is going to be um, all filters, all selected for geo. Just a moment, this is location and geo. Then we have to divide this by, just a moment, I'm trying to apprehend on how we can, I don't want to introduce the variables right now. Maybe Daphne, if you can first pose that question, then because
That's okay.
yes, I don't want to introduce the variables before we take in this. I'm just trying to take it step by step, but I will come back to that question. So, because we are supposed to introduce variables and break them down into variables, then have that function working right away as how you need it. So, the other thing I needed us to know before we run out of time is I want someone to ask me what is the logic we are using in creating measures. For the basics we have done, what do you feel or what have you understood or you have not understood? Then I can pull it on another stage. There is something I want to go to next. the basic creation of measures, is it okay for all of us? A thumbs up can also give me a go ahead in case we are together. I just want to have a feel. Yes. Oh, okay. Now, bringing back here my product, bringing back my products here. Before we go to something else, I want to create a filter that brings in the logic. You have seen this logic where you say, we always use them for decision making, where someone says that if the cells are between this and this, then that is high. If it is this, then that is low. I don't know whether you get it. That is a logic you create which helps people to make decisions. What ran low, what ran high. So now here you can have your baseline for the sales maybe per product, or you can have the baseline per the sales personnel. Let me try to pick the people. Please don't rush this. That's why I'm just taking it slow to make sure that uh, you capture the basics. The moment you have the basics, like how in Excel you do, that every formula comes, you know how to reuse it several times. Now, if you want, you have a baseline with your sales personnel. Let me open this to all the years. And you say that any sales personnel who is below 1.5 million is below target or is low. Then any sales personnel who is higher than this is high. How do we create that condition? We also have the ifs in measures. So if you want to create, let's say, a sales band, it is upon you, you know the baseline you'll be using. So how do we create that? That's what I wanted to first ping on, then we can go to, okay. Now, if you want to create a sales band, maybe you have a target. How do you create a sales band? Then another thing I'd not yet introduced to you, that you can create as many, you can create lines below this to make sure that your work is neat and spaced. By pressing a shift and enter, it takes you on a new line. So when we are creating DAX, it doesn't mean that it has to be in the same line, so long as you have the syntax on how to create this. Now, sales band, we want to say if, open brackets, let's look at total sales. Since we already have a DAX to reuse, we can go for that. If total sales is greater than 1.5, let's go with 1.5 for both years. So 1.5, that is going to be 1.5 with 5 zeros. Yes. If total sales is greater than 1.5, then this salesperson will have then a comma. Result if true. So you have to put it in quotes. So what should we give to someone who has more than that? So you'll say that highly performed, or best, or you can say best performer. You know how you use your terminologies. Then in case it doesn't fit in that category, then this one will be poor, like this. Or you can create even moderate by giving it ranges. Now, since I open a bracket, I will close it. Now, what I was trying to show you, that with Power BI, you can categorize this by, if you started, if you can even put this on its own line by pressing a shift like this, then you even put the closing bracket on its own line. So what we do here, actually, when you press a control and scroll, it zooms out the DAX. So here we are telling Power BI that if the total sales are greater than 1.5, mark that one as best, then the other one as poor. Then I will go ahead and commit that. It will create my measure here. So if I come and click in my table and have this band, where is it? and put it under this, you'll see that we have those that are best, we have those that are poor. And with ease, you can easily tell who is best, who is poor. You can even have a filter of this by putting this here. Oh no, that is to do with parameters. Okay, so the if function, in case you want to use the if function, it is very easy. You can also use it in your DAX by using it that way. Now there is the other option also. You can go ahead and even do color bands. Then if I don't put best and worst and that, I can even put emojis. So you can come on sales band that where there is best, I put an emoji. How do you open the emoji dialog on your keyboard? You press Windows and a full stop, or you call it Windows and dot. It will open an emoji functionality. So if I want to put, instead of best, I put there a tick, I will put a tick like this. Then instead of poor, I Windows emoji, then I put an X like that. So when I do commit, it will automatically even update my table like this. So here, if you're presenting this, you can easily tell who is the worst, who is the best, right? Obviously, when we change the years, you may have more of them worst. You see, 2022, actually, 2022, because there were only 3 months, no one hit 1.5. So in 2021, you see those who hit 1.5, but it depends on the band you give it. So with the if, it can do a lot of magic. You can add emojis, you can do whatever you want to present to your audience. I don't know whether I've covered that. I'm trying to tap on the basics. Then maybe the next session, we are also going to do DAX extended to make sure that we don't lose out on the same. Guys, if you don't understand or if we are losing you out, please ask. That's why I'm taking it too slow. Now, why do we need to use this? Mostly when we are doing classifications on the dashboard. Like you can imagine this classification we are doing. Who is the best, who is the poorest in performance. And also we do this to also avoid using, there is another function we are going to find which is called switch, but that is an advanced one. It works like if, but for it is more extended, where you do switch. If you find someone is below this, give them a tick. If someone is above this, give them this. Now, if there you're having more than one, that if I'm having more than one bands like this, I'm having more than one band. This is the first band. But imagine you're having more than one. If total sales is less than this, if it is equal to this, if it is between this and this, there we use the switch function instead of if. I'm talking about it just in case you can research on it before even we reach. Well and good. So that is it to do with that. Now let me run on to how you do counts. You can, because there are a lot of data analysis you can do with this simple data we have. You can get the unique customers, you can get the unique products you have in your business. You can, what else have we not talked about? We can also get the percentages and dividing. Maybe what I've not talked about is when we are getting here the percentage sales, yeah, here, percentage sales, there are two options. You can do it directly, sales USA divided by total sales. But do you know the snag you hit here when you're doing it directly is, in case you're dividing by a zero, in case USA didn't have sales of a certain commodity, what does that mean? It means that you're going to get a percentage with an error, right? But how do we bypass that error? This is how we do it. This is how we do now the DAX for when you're calculating any percentage. So I'm going to create a new measure. I show you how we do that. So I will wait. This is going to be still percentage sales USA, but this is going to be option 2. So this is equal to, this time we start, as I already told you, now we can make our DAX neat by entering. I'm going on a new line. Then we use now the divide function, that divide function, which requires you to input a numerator, a denominator, and an alternative result. Alternative result that in case that country had 0, should we bring you the div error you see in Excel? You know, in Excel we have if error. Now this is the option of if error. So the numerator here is obviously the sales for USA, this, then comma, the denominator. Actually, I just want to make sure that I teach you on how to use your space and make sure everything is clean with DAX than doing it in a single line. Then we are dividing by, I'm putting this on a new line, we are dividing by total. You can feel free for the start to put them on the same line for you to apprehend how the syntax is, but with time, it becomes very neat when you are writing a lot of code or DAX that you can even easily edit it whenever you need. It doesn't take time. So here it's a comma. What is the alternative they should bring for you in case there is an error? So the alternative, I will put the alternative in quotes because it's not a numeric. Put it in quotes. So here I can say no sales like this and close. So you can close bracket. You see now the way how my DAX is very neat, very easy to read, very easy to edit and explain, which means if I'm changing this, if I'm copying the whole of this to change it for New Zealand, it is easy by me changing only USA and everything goes back. I'm going to do that for you. So it means here, if I enter and I try it in my table, let me try it in my table. That is option 2. Select your table. Bring this option 2 here. I want to bring them nearer. Then we can see the difference. Obviously, we have to change this DAX into, just expand here to make sure that I have visibility. You can always shrink some of the pens here that are not in use at that moment when you're working. So this DAX 2, let's change it also to percentage. It will change to percentage. Ideally, you'll see that nearly everything is the same. But the moment we have sales here 0, that's when you know that it is not the same. Because here it will give you an error, but here it will give you no sales. Just in case we didn't have sales in that country. Do we have any question? I know I'm rushing for time. Some of you had told me that you have a meeting. So when we do this repeating, you have a cleaner code, faster processing, and easier to debug. Debugging means correcting errors. Just I'm using those terminologies, we can get used to them. Debugging in coding or in software, it means correcting errors. So if I have any error here, it is easy for me to debug. Now, example, if we are changing this to another country, let's look out for another country. Let me check another country. Just I'm trying to check the values, then I can know which country I can pick. Let's go.
New Zealand.
Okay, let me go for UK just because it is easier. Now, if I want to create a sales for UK, I will start with duplicating because I already have sales USA. So the moment I select sales USA, now you can imagine, you see the one that is in a single line, it doesn't look fine. So which means you can always correct this uh, even when you find that you have advanced, you can always correct this to make sure that your code is neat. Now, we want to change this to USA. I will copy this, UX, then you go click on that tab again, new measure. The new measure has come, paste that. Now, in case the word USA is, you see when I select this USA, even this one selects. You get? So if you have USA like 9 times, I'm not going to keep changing USA, and here you don't have a control find. But how do we do it? That if you select this, and if you have a pen, you can write this down. It is a shortcut, Control Shift L. Now, when you press Ctrl Shift L, it selects that word wherever it is, even if in your code it is there like 10 times, it will select it. Then start typing what you need. I need UK, like this. You see that when I'm changing, it is changing both at once. So it is Ctrl Shift L. You select one like this, then you press a Ctrl Shift L. It will show you that you can edit both at once. So the moment I enter, it is giving me UK, sales UK. Then let me get now the percentage for sales UK. We can go with this. So I can copy this. Then after copying, you say add a new measure. It will create a a check for me. Adding a new measure, just a moment. There we go. Then paste this. Remember, we are changing this to UK. Control Shift L because I don't want to change one by one. Then this is UK. Now remember, even it is changing the sales UK. This is constant, no sales. Everything is good. I can delete this. Then go ahead and commit. You enter. All will be good. Now, it means that um, I can add here, which means I can remove here the cells for US exit off, X this off, then I bring the percentage for UK like this. So here we have percentage USA, percentage US. This you can go ahead and put it in percentage. So meaning that on this personnel, Andrea, he did a sales of 16.2 in the US and did 18.43 in the UK. That is 2021. We already have that analysis. But obviously, there are a lot of advanced in the way how you can do this, like what you had already asked. I posed that question, maybe we can do it some other time because I didn't want to stretch you with uh, a lot of DAX principles, of which some of them you haven't grasped. So for now, you are able to use the calculate function, you are able to use the divide function, and you're able to use the sales function. Now, the way we use the sales function, it is the way how you use the count. Now, let's count, create a new DAX. Let's get unique customers. Unique customers. So unique customers equals to, press enter. We are going to use distinct. Distinct means that you're counting unique. So the moment you start typing, it will come. Distinct count is this. So that is it. Now, the moment you put a function, it brings you all the columns in all the tables you have. You may be having like zillion of columns. Start typing the table you want it to pick from. We are counting customers from the sales data, or you can even count them from, actually it is from the sales table like this. And where are our customers? Where do we have the customers? Do we have the unique customers? Now, as how we did last time, I will X that. Then you see now the purpose of why you're supposed to study your data before. we looking for unique, or let's go with unique products because I think we don't have customers in our sales data. We don't have customers. Okay. Yeah, we don't have customers in our data, but let's go if you need to count unique products. Let's go with products. Come back here. New measure. Uh, select. I'm selecting the table set because I want to put them here. Then I'll show you how you can move them. Actually, before the call ends, I'm going to show you how we can move them, creating a table that we can put all our DAX in a different in a single table. So I'm creating a new measure here, then paste the other one, what we had. Is it still? Yes. Now here we are counting unique products and go ahead and that's all. There is nothing much. So in case we need to look at the number, it means that I can just copy this and or if you want to how many unique products did each person sell? Obviously they may all have sold all the products, so it may not give sense. So if I copy this and paste, I'm trying to create a scorecard, then you can bring the unique, actually I'd called it unique customers, this product. Boom. That's 22. So you can edit this, it is products, not customers. So it means that when I'm running my dashboard with scorecards like this, it becomes easy for me to have these put together. And for the new scorecard, it means that you can put more than one. You can put the cells on one, then it splits that way, like this. You can even bring the boxes there like this. It splits and makes three. Then you can go ahead and do the formatting. We shall do that in visuals. Right now, we're just looking at the basics. You can format this such that it looks good for your viewers. But that's it. That's how you deal with a scorecard. Now, I want you to try out counting like a lot of distinct, doing profit. I've already shown you how you use the divide function, get the costing, or that is the buying price. So if you have price and quantity, get the totals, do a lot of DAX. Make sure that you play with it, get the profit, get the profit margin. If you can get your own data and use it to go through this after I have uploaded this video for you to go through, then that is going to be fantastic for our next class where we're going to do a bit of advanced that we have not done today. And I tell you, my friends, DAX, every day there is new DAX coming through. You're not going to learn everything. Don't wait to learn everything, then you can start creating. Start creating with what you have right now. Now, if we want to be more clean, we don't want our DAX to be just confused with this table, which is having its own columns. We can move them, but how do we move them? We create a table. So you always come under under modeling. There is always creating a new table. You see this. So when you create a new table, it is going to open and create as if it is a measure like this, but this is a table. I've clicked on new table. Yes, it is going to open like this. Now give this table a name. So I'll give this table a name and call it measures and enter. Oh, no, no, no. Wait a minute. This is, call it measures. So we have created a table called measures. Actually, it is here. I think the renaming has delayed, but uh, so it always has one column. So even when you go to viewing tables, just Daphne, if you can give me 5 minutes to complete this, I know you have a meeting next. So if we go to data view, And we look at this table we have created. Wait a minute. Did it actualize? It didn't. Okay. Let's use this option. Under modeling, create a new table. We call this measures equals to blank. The name measures is, let me call it measure T, because the name measures means something else in, that's why I couldn't use the word measures, because it means something else. So you see measure table, this table is just blank. When you come to this table, it just has one column, one cell. But our main issue is to move all these measures you're seeing here into this. How do we do that? There are two options. You can click on each measure and you change here the table like this. That measure will be moving up. You see this, it will be moving this to this. You can drag, but drag sometimes doesn't work. It only works when you're on modeling models. Now, when we are on models, you can, these are the measures, which means when I select on them, you see these measures. When you select on them, it is its home table is cells. We are changing this to measures like this. So you can go and change all the others to measure table. So we are trying to have all our measures into one table, which is measures table, such that whenever I'm doing my analysis, it is easy for me to know where I'm finding my measures. That is the neat way on how you can manage your measures in Power BI. Let's do that quickly. If you can give me a few minutes. I know we have passed our time by 6 minutes. Just finishing up this. You don't wait to do this at the end, which means when you're creating measures, you create them directly in that table. But I never wanted it to create at first for us to first understand how we create measures with ease. So you'll see that in the cells table, all these measures are no longer there. Wait a minute. So in the cells table, all the measures are no longer there. All of them are here. So when you have already moved measures, which means now you can delete this blank column by hiding it, or you can even leave it, but you can hide it. Hiding it means that I can't see it, I can't use it. So the moment you hide it, the moment you remove that column, sometimes the icon of this will change into the wow you see that icon. Now you see that all your measures are grouped in just one table. Now in that table you can also have folders. I will show you some projects. You can also have folders that groups percentages alone, groups this alone, color codes alone. Let's say if we want to group the totals different, I'll go back to DAX, to the data models. You see, because I created this table, it created its own table. But this table, remember, it is not related to any of these because for it, it is a measure table. That's why it doesn't have relationship. So when you click on these totals, there is what we call display folder here. So I can put a display folder and say, I want a folder that only does for totals. So if I copy this and I click on all the totals, pasting that and even the unique, paste this. So when you go back, you'll see that we have a table measures, but even we have a folder that is grouping only the totals, which means even you can have a folder that groups the sales, you can have a folder that groups the percentages. Let's try to do that quickly, then we can leave this call. But guys, whatever we are doing, you need to try. The moment you don't try, I assure you, in 2 days you'll have forgotten sales. So I can copy this. I want to create a folder for sales. Then click here, paste on this. In data analysis, why do we do all that? I'm taking much time to do this cleaning, but the time I'm taking, you save a lot of time when you're reviewing such projects of yours. Then I can call these percentages, like this. Copy. Then I have all the percentages in their own folder, like that. Okay, let me first leave others, then I show you another trick. You see now, I have a folder for totals, I have a folder for sales with only sales, I have a folder for percentages with only percentage, but there are other two percentages I left outside here. Now for folders, you can move measures to folders like this. I think you move them when you let me see at the data view. Let me see this. Still, it is done here, my friend. It is done here. Yeah, it is done in data modeling. You can move them like how you drag things from one to another if you don't want to keep typing here on the display folder. Which means when we go back, you see how neat your work is. It means even if I have 1,000 measures I've calculated, I can easily find a measure I'm looking for to use in my computation or in my visuals. So that's how you create a measure table separate. That's how you create folders where you can put the different measures such that you can easily access them. And that's how we create DAX. Guys, I know we have